Hi, David.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I work directly with Wilfried Ehrenholz, the owner.
Was he the guy from Dynaudio?
Yes.
Was that Dynaudio guy one guy, or was it?
Yes.
So the guy.
The owner, yes.
How old is he now?
71, I think.
How did he end up leaving Dynaudio and going to P Consult?
To cut it simply, he got made an offer he couldn't refuse.
Okay. Oh, so he sold the company.
Yeah.
Got it.
10 plus years ago.
Okay.
Got bored and discovered that there was a small boutique brand in Denmark that made absolutely stunning cabinets, potentially was up for sale, investment, new ownership, new direction, and in 2021 he took over the company.
Great.
So yeah, Peak Consult was started 96, so 30 years ago, by Per Christoffersen, who actually still works for us.
And what's the history between the Dynaudio driver and Audio Technology? Was Audio Technology a breakoff from Dynaudio, or
yes, it
vice
was.
versa?
It was. Yeah. So interestingly, Wilfried, when he set up Dynaudio originally, he had a partner, and I think after a few years, he decided, or that they decided, that Wilfried would carry on Dynaudio on his own, and his partner broke off and set up Audio Technology, which is probably why
you can see the design aesthetic, the
yeah.
perforated edges in the woofer.
That's right.
You always knew there was something.
There was a link there.
There was a link there somewhere. Yeah.
Definitely.
And
in fact,
is the tweeter also Audio Technology?
This is actually a ScanSpeak.
Okay.
So this is the same ScanSpeak drive unit we use from our flagship, the Dragon Legacy, that was launched in 2022. So a year after Wilfried took over the company, he sort of brought some fresh products to market.
It must have been hard for him to leave the Isotar, the legendary.
Yeah,
such an amazing tweeter.
Yes, he still talks about that.
I've had this tweeter in multiple iterations. It's like super special.
He's very proud of that.
For sure.
Right.
So this is a new model.
Yes, it is. Yeah, this is SunFyre.
Debuting here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
SunFyre we had Dragon Legacy. Any Game of Thrones fans that knows about the names of the dragons will know Sunfire, Dreamfire. Oh. So hence SunFyre.
I love it. I love it. And this is a 3-way or a 4-way?
It's a 3-way.
Yep.
So
Dynaudio configuration.
Yeah, 5-driver, 3-way design. Yep. MTM, mid-range, treble mid-range, or Dynaudio.
Yep.
Ported. Double ported at the rear, so ported bass units. And
what's the efficiency?
90.
Pretty good.
Yeah, 90 dB efficiency.
Yeah.
The impedance, again, a carryover from the Dynaudio days.
4 ohm.
And absolutely flat.
That's the Dynaudio.
So really flat, so not to cause any problems with any amplifier. Yeah. So there's a carryover there.
And tell me about the build quality, which just looks stellar.
So these weigh only 235 kilograms each. They're actually made up of 5 cabinets. Oh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you have an inner carcass that's made up of 3 layers of HDF. Each layer is 12 millimeters. Each one of those layers is glued together with a hybrid glue. There's 2 types of glue. Per, being a carpenter, took a conventional epoxy and then another glue to make a secret sauce. Effectively what that does is they're incredibly strong, but there's a tiny bit of movement in those 3 panels, which effectively means it's the dynamic damping. It turns any energy into heat.
It dissipates into heat. Yeah. It's like constrained layer damping.
Exactly. So rather than have 36 mil of a solid piece of HDF, which it would ring, 3 layers with the glue in between is the internal section of here, and actually that's the bit covered with the smooth leather.
And that's the front baffle.
That's the hole inside.
The hole inside.
So the hole inside,
I see,
is built with that construction. So what you'll have there is 36 mil, and then where they cross over here, you've got double that, because So in all of these intersections.
And when they ship, do they ship as separate modules
No,
and
no,
the end
no.
user assembles?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, this is how you would receive it.
Okay, yeah.
It's actually just to give an idea of the construction. Absolutely, yeah. So this is not one loudspeaker built as one cabinet. It's individual cabinets. And I think what you can sort of see is that there are no parallel lines. So
Kill, the smooth diffraction off the drivers.
Exactly. But there's more to that, because let's just pick the mid-range section for a minute. Inside here, the actual venting of the back of the driver is all the way to the back chamber. And in the middle, there's an entire MDF section, floor to ceiling, of that chamber, and that's filled with sand. It's vented all the way to the back, and at the back of this chamber, we have natural wool. And the wool fibre, because it's very, very natural, actually just keeps its shape over a very long period of time.
Are they tapered tubes inside? Like a transmission? Like a tapered transmission?
Not quite. It's sort of open at the front and then tapered to the back. And that's a development from the Dragon. The Dragon actually had a sort of, if the driver's here, it had a vented at the back. Pear then did more to that with the Sunfire, and we used the entire chamber to just take away any energy from the back.
And that's for each driver? Or
that's for the mid-range.
For the mid-range.
The tweeter, of course, has its own chamber, but that's also sealed in a solid section, and internally there's an internal section with sand. So again, you could say really there's 8 bits of this cabinet, the 5 and the 3 internal. Then you have the outer base sections. Again, there's a tapering, if you see, so there's no parallel sides. The volume on the bottom one is the same as the top section. And to about here, and then this section here houses the crossover. And the crossover is point to point. LF components are mounted on a board, mid-range on another board, HF on another board, glued to the external parts of the chamber. That entire chamber is filled with sand. And the sand does 2 key things, heat and reduces microphony. So it's very, very good at stabilizing. Because when you're playing something like this loudly, the resistors that are looking after the bass units, they get hot, and then of course you lose control over the bass, whereas you take the heat away.
My speakers have external crossovers.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
So the internal with the sand then adds even more weight and stability to the loudspeaker.
And when you ship these things and they come in their carcass, you don't have to worry about the sand moving inside the speaker.
Oh no, it's totally sealed.
Totally
Absolutely sealed. So then it's totally sealed, and then added to that, we have on this a 36mm bottom plate, so the same HDF triple layer on the bottom, mounted with 3 industrial rubber washers, bolted with the aluminium bars and then the steel feet. And the steel feet have ball bearings on the inside.
So decoupled?
Completely decoupled. So it gives you the surface contact point of a spike, but with a foot that's infinitely more stable and more consistent over a wider variety of surfaces. So whether it's wood or marble or tile, it's much more stable.
Nice.
So that's effectively
beautiful.
The construction. What we have here, it's finished in ash, and this is solid ash. We don't do veneers, we don't spray. This is done with solid wood.
And I love it because it kind of looks unfinished in a very natural way.
It's hand finished.
Hand-finished?
So it's not sprayed. This is all waxed by hand.
This is the way the Danes know how to do it.
And you can actually see that all of these are individual strips that are then glued together. So you'll actually see the joins.
Oh yeah.
So this is real carpentry. The amount of hours that go into this, it's probably about 8 weeks to build a set of Dragons or a set of Sunfires.
Wow.
And the labour is immense.
Yeah.
But you can see very difficult to tell by pictures, but when you come up to one and you touch it and feel it, you know.
Yeah.
You know whether.
And I assume like you attach this thing to an accelerometer, it extremely inert and...
We did exactly that. So one of the key members of the R&D team, so you have Per Christoffersen, the original founder, who is the expert with the cabinets, who runs our production. You then take his expertise, Wilfried with his expertise of drive units and voicing and crossover designs. You add the third tripod, the third leg to the to the tripod of Karl-Heinz Fink and his incredible measurement facilities and his expertise.
I don't know him.
He's a consultant in the industry and has done many speaker designs, OEM, or helped other brands. And his test facility in Essen is incredible.
Does he have an anechoic chamber? Or?
Multiple, Wow. And this is actually where we do measure the cabinets.
Nice.
So we put an accelerometer on the outside of these, and they're dead.
Yeah.
You know, so we sort of, the measurement allow us to get to a baseline.
Yeah.
But where a lot of other manufacturers would be very satisfied with, you know, the measurements. Well, that's actually where we start. So then, for instance, on a project like this, the first prototypes were delivered to Wilfried in November with 3 versions of a similar crossover, and then he would pick which crossover he wanted to work with. We use whatever's important and relevant to each product. So there's no generic form. Contrary to where Dynaudio was 6 dB slopes for everything, the peak approach is it's made specifically for this product. So the components, we might use Juland graphite resistors as an example. You know, they cost us 100 euros. We'll use capacitors this size. It's no cost object. And that's actually where the special sauce comes in, because after you get the flat response and they all behave themselves, the drive units, that's where the real listening starts. So from that point, November, Wilfried's done a lot of listening to components that you don't measure. There's no difference in the measurement at all. We're changing values, we're changing brand just to get the tonality. They're incredibly phase accurate, but then it's the tonality as well that really matters. And if he's not happy with how the strings sound in a particular orchestral piece, he'll keep putting in different components to get that right. But just to clarify for people that don't quite understand, you've got to allow those components to run in. So this process takes thousands of hours.